Thanks, Emily, and thanks to everybody who's joined us on the webinar today. As Emily said, my name is Travis Parigi, and I'm very excited to talk to you about eliminating chaos in the workplace as it relates to schedule and dispatch. I think we got some great information to share with you, and Liquid Frameworks as a company is uniquely positioned to talk about this particular set of business problems because we focus specifically on three major industries in the overall energy sector: oilfield service providers, industrial, and emergency service providers. We've taken about 15 years worth of knowledge and experience and baked it into our product. And that gives us a unique ability to address problems and business processes that have very unique particular characteristics within these couple of industries that really require a specialist type of approach as opposed to a generalist type of approach. We use our FieldFX solution, which is a product suite that encompasses a variety of different modules that can solve a sundry different series of business processes related to these three industries. Our modules address problems related to field operations, asset management through our enterprise asset management module. You can see we abbreviate that EAM. We also layer in our configure price quote module, abbreviated on the screen as CPQ. And then we have also our time card module that helps collect payroll time. Today we're going to specifically drill into our schedule and dispatch module that works seamlessly and holistically with all these different modules that you see on the screen, including the ones I haven't mentioned yet, which are our community self-service portal, which allows your customers to interact with you electronically. And then under all of this, of course, is the analytics module, which can provide business intelligence, reporting, all kinds of different great information that you can pull out of the system. It's important to note that these modules work in concert together. They're not bolt-ons, they're not separate products that have been cobbled together. These are all holistically part of the same product suite. And when we use them together, or even standalone, because they can be used in standalone situations, but when we use them together, it allows us to solve a whole bunch of different problems in one nice enterprise class solution. And it enables us to get away from the manual processes that we often see. And so I want to talk a little bit about that as it relates to scheduling and some of the chaos that we see out in the workplace that Emily was mentioned. So we talked to a variety of different companies in the service provider space, and it's inevitable that many of those companies are already solving or trying to solve their problems related to schedule and dispatch through manual methods. And we've seen everything from war rooms that have been turned into giant whiteboards where they take the whiteboard material you can get at Home Depot and Lowe's and put it on the wall, and they cut the wall into different swim lanes, and they're scheduling literally on the wall, to things like Excel or even paper. All these types of potential manual solutions are inherent with different types of problems. There's no centralization of the data. So we're just putting the data into manual buckets, into paper buckets, Excel. There's no way to centralize the data in that case. So that means that we can't do any great roll-up reporting. We can't syndicate the information to our company user base. We can't get people the data that they need in a timely fashion, unless, of course, they run down to the war room and take a look at what's on the wall. And, well, if we have multiple locations, well, that's a whole other set of problems in and of itself. And speaking of having all that data, let's say in a war room case, in that type of case, we got a single point of failure. So we might have the cleaning crew that shows up that night and they erase the whiteboard. Well, hopefully somebody took a picture of that before that happened. But overall, this is a manual, laborious, error-prone process that doesn't lend itself to scale, and it certainly doesn't lend itself to any type of disaster recovery. And there has to be a better way to do this. And today, we're going to walk you through how to do that. And so Matt is going to show us shortly a workflow that I'd like to cover with you on the screen here. And he's going to walk us through a couple of workflows, but I want to talk at a high level of what it is that he's going to address for us. He's going to look at a fictitious company that we call Parca Energy Services. And at Parca, we're going to have a dispatch manager whose job it is to take a look at available equipment and available people from a time perspective, and then take the people that are available from a calendaring perspective, move them through a filter whereby we say, okay, I see that these people and equipment, these resources are available timing-wise, but now I want to see who's available also from a certifications perspective, a qualifications perspective, and get that list or get that scope even more narrow. And once I have that set of resources, then I want to push them onto either a calendar view, or maybe I want to push them onto a timeline view, so that I can get those jobs staffed up with the right resources and that are qualified to go do the work that needs to be done. And once I've got those people staffed up, of course I need to notify them. So I need to either get them a text message, or I need to get them a phone call, maybe from text to voice, or I need to just get them a simple email. But somehow I need to loop them in so that they know where they need to be and when they need to be, so that I'm not manually calling all those people. We have customers that sometimes will staff 60, 70, 80, 100 people on a job in some cases, especially in the environmental response business. Well, I don't want to have to go calling down that list of people. So in our case, we'd rather just send out a nice text or a quick email so that we're not manually placing phone calls to people. So how's Matt going to do that? He's going to use the schedule and dispatch module in FieldFX, and he's going to use a bunch of different, what we call panels, to do that. So he can build a series of layouts that are comprised of different panels. And those panels can be calendar panels that look just like a traditional calendar, a monthly calendar that you're used to seeing, where you see jobs and resources on the calendar. He can also use mapping panels where he can put who and what is being done in the context of geography, so we can see where things are going and where they're located. And he can also use different panels that we call timelines and listings, where he can list out different jobs and people and equipment on a timeline, almost like a Gantt chart for the project management people on the call. So we can use all those different panels as a single solution or in concert to create a nice comprehensive overall view into what's taking place with our resources. Our dispatcher at Parka is going to have to answer a lot of questions. And you'll see, if you evaluate any of your dispatchers and schedulers, that throughout the day they answer so many questions related to resources and jobs, they may not even realize that they're getting asked these things because they just do it inherently as part of their job. Well, in FieldFX, we can answer all those questions, and the system will take care of all of the legwork and effort required to get those answers. And so I'll just highlight a couple of these and just show you some examples of how we might solve that in FieldFX, and then Matt's going to drill much deeper. So take the question of when can I start the next job. In this case, I've got a job timeline on the screen that's showing all of the fleets that we have available, and it's showing what job each of those fleets is going to. So we're looking at our Victoria fleets for next week. In this case, let's say I've got a 2-day job that I need to staff. I need to deploy a fleet to a 2-day job. Well, I can visually see very quickly that the only 2-day block, or the soonest 2-day block that I have, is Wednesday, March the 8th, and that's the Titan fleet. The Gulf fleet is, of course, available on March the 5th, but that's only a 1-day block of time that's open. So even before interacting with the system, I can visually see availability. But I could take it one step further, and I could drill into a job and have the system tell me the next availability for a 2-day job with respect to fleets and next week. And Matt's going to show you that exact example in a working demo of the system. I'm just highlighting a few interesting features here to set the stage for you. If we take a look at the next example that I have, let's look at this question related to what's the closest equipment to the job that I'm focused in on. And in this case, I'm looking at this job that's being done out of Runge, Texas, down in the Eagle Ford, and I know that I need an AIT tool on there. And in this case, I can graphically see that my closest AIT tool is tool number 434, and it is very close compared to the other tools that I have in the area. So from there, I could take this tool and drag it onto a timeline that has that job, or I could drag it to that job and get it staffed up so that I assign the tool that is least expensive to move to that location and that's best qualified. And Matt will show you all that working in the product itself. In the product itself, the module itself, Schedule and Dispatch, as I was saying earlier, it's woven into the fabric of the FieldFX product suite. It's built on top of the Salesforce One platform. And what that means to us on the call is that you can leverage the technology investment that you may already have and the data investment that you already have. So you can use jobs and accounts and customers and contacts and employees, equipment, assets, all those data elements that are inherent in the FieldFX system. It can all be leveraged with the Schedule and Dispatch module from Liquid Frameworks. And since it's on the Salesforce One platform, it's highly configurable and extensible. So Matt's going to show you a series of features here in a second, but keep in mind that it can be taken much further than what we're showing in this brief demo. You can configure it and extend it to handle a variety of different use cases from different types of industries that can be simple or could be extremely complex.